and we can't possibly talk about all of them right now, but we have just about 15 minutes. I'd like us to touch on a quick topic on the political parties bill. This caused a lot of acrimony in Parliament, and now it's heading to the Senate. The Senate is now seeking views. Prof, why is this bill so acrimonious from your view? I know you've interacted with it extensively.
I think the bill, the Kimunye Amendment, Bill number 56, and the Mbadi Amendment, Bill number 58, are both acrimonious because they destabilize the manner in which political parties are run. They destabilize the manner in which funds are shared within political parties. They destabilize how coalitions are made and timeframes. The amendments, for instance, seek to define coalitions and to exclude them from the waiting period of 1 year, exclude Section 5 and 6, so that coalitions can be registered once notified. But above all, once registered, again, coalitions, pre-election coalitions, where a coalition is involved, have to be entered into 6 months before the election. Previous it is 3 months. Of course, other coalitions can be done 3 months with the election. Then the post-election coalitions are still done 21 days after the election. But there's a big question here. The big question is that you have this amendment to Section 33 and 34 of the Political Parties Act that seems to give the registrar a lot of power and gives a peek into controlling nominations and determining membership to political parties. That has raised problems. Then by lowering the threshold of requirements for sharing of funds from the political parties fund, from the previous requirement of 40 MCAs, 3 governors, senators, and members of parliament, now you just have requirement of 1, 1, 1, 1. That means that every possible party coalition partner will have a share in the political party's fund. That revolutionary, in fact, brings what Honorable Sosian said. It's a revolutionary amendment, and that is a concern. It means that bigger parties will be equal to smaller parties. Smaller parties can join together and form a coalition, and as long as each of them then will win some seat in parliament or in the other houses, they'll be eligible to share with the political parties fund. I think that is a concern here.
So in your view, is it a good bill or not?
In my view, it is a good bill because it expands the space for political interaction, indeed actualizes the very intention of Article 38 of the Constitution by allowing parties dalliance for political parties, allowing parties also to agree on frameworks that are predictable. It brings sanity into politics because by having pre-election coalitions that are predictable, then you cannot hide other deals under the table. And remember, 6 months is a long time. You get into this deal 6 months before the election, you know what is in it for you. So that small parties can come together. They will then share the cake above the table, and there'll be no hidden tricks in politics, and that's a good thing for me.
Alwale, there was a lot of acrimony with this bill. Prof says it's a good bill. What do you think?
I think I wouldn't want to waste any more time about the content of the bill, because as the debate raged on, Kenyans got to know, and some have subsequently read about it. But what I would like to comment on is what informed the need for that bill to be brought before Parliament. It is because the President and former Prime Minister were unable to attract Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Kalonzo into supporting the former Prime Minister for this year's election, because these gentlemen were saying they could not trust him. And they cited, as Mheshimiwa has said, Professor has said, the issue of sharing of public funds that are meant to support political parties. So if a man cannot be trusted to the extent that a law has to be created for that man to have a semblance of being somebody who can live within his promise, is that man fit to be the head of state? That's the big question. And I speak with maximum authority, Honorable Sossion, because Honorable Muskari Kombo was the father of the Political Party Funding Act. And I, Boni Khalwale, I am the one who created the amendment to that act that then laid out a better criteria of what it takes for a party to qualify for funding. Okay. It's clear. Now, the reason why this must be passed is because they are unable to put together a machine like United Democratic Alliance that can win an election on its own. They must gobble around a coalition of regional tribal parties to enable them have a semblance of being national. We should just stop it. We go to election. May the best man win. May the best party win. Okay. And the bottom line is that the only parties in the history of this country that form government are national parties. Okay. Kanu formed government because it was a national party. Kibaki attempted to form government using DP. 3 times he failed. But when they crafted the NAC, a national party, they formed government. Okay. Uhuru Kenyatta has been able to form government because Jubilee was a serious national party. We want to advise our age mates, colleagues, and parents who are in decision-making positions to ensure that we now make a serious paradigm shift where we do not promise our youth force. The culture of reminding young people that if you are cohesive as a tribe and you push your agenda in coalition with another tribe, you will form a majority against another tribe. Okay. Is primitive. Last week, the United States of America put on their currency the name and photograph of a black woman called Maya. It is now, their currency is being minted using that picture and name. They are telling the world that we have overcome color, we have overcome discrimination against black people in the US. If they can do it there, and that is more complex than our situation, surely we can overcome tribalism. Okay. Maneno mingi craft this so as to enable this tribe and that tribe to come together to harm another tribe is nonsense, which we should not be discussing even on national TV today.
Well, Matangi, this comes to you. I'm not sure you want to give your views in advance, but you can give a general statement on it.
Well, I mean, because it's been in the National Assembly, Trevor, and our discussions on it, definitely there are views that one can give. And notwithstanding everything else, and I believe all my colleagues here, and especially Boni Khalwale, who has gone through a few elections, and having gone through that, the proposals in that bill, whatever other aspects one may condemn or have suspicion about, there are some that you can't second guess the usefulness of having in. And Trevor, I want to say to our viewers this morning, because I know Kenyans are interested in this, because, you know, the process of democracy, once it starts from the campaign period, we have the promises that we're talking about being made, office being conferred to individuals, finally supposed to give the results that Kenyans aspire to have. Now, those results are given by representatives who are chosen by the people themselves. Now, one of the biggest flaws we have had in the process of realizing our democracy through representative politics is the process called nominations. And if you ask, and I will tell you that for sure, and I'm in a party whereby we were victims ourselves in the first place. You know, you remember in the elections of 2017, the first thing that happened when we went to the elections was we started with our nominations, which were then cancelled nationwide. Because it was flawed and there were problems and it had to be corrected. I can tell you, Trevor, no matter what anyone says, and my friend Bonnie will tell you, that I do not think that there is a single politician who has not been a victim of that. And one of the good things that I believe that this law would be doing, irrespective of anything else, is to ensure that at least we have some sense and semblance of a good nomination process. And for every other misgiving that I would give that law, in ensuring that a person chosen by the people is going to find his way to the tape and being the person to be voted by limiting. Because you see, somebody asked a question that I think one can relate to very easily using that simile or comparison. If there's an election in the Catholic Church and the fathers are choosing who is going to be an archbishop, why does somebody who is a Protestant want to go and vote to determine who is going to be the leader of a Catholic Church?
Fair point.
Yes. And so this same question is what was being posed and is addressed by the political parties bill, that if the party called Jubilee or ODM or UDA for this matter is going to conduct its election, why does somebody in Azimio la Umoja want to come and vote in an election process for UDA to determine who will be the candidate for UDA? Because the nomination process is regulationless or lawless. And this one aspect, I believe, at least, even if we were to count all the other misgivings, we would say that this is going to at least help us address that. Now, on this other matter of the funding of political parties, Trevor, I was with Boni Halwale in the Senate, in the first Senate, and during the first campaign of 2013, there was still a coalition around the principles around the former Prime Minister. Then we came into this other second election where we had the NASA brigade. If I can tell you the fallout that has been within Parliament and the processes thereon, including, if you remember, the removal of people like Wetangula as the leader of minority, and other intrigues have been that were there, were all they were all fueled by the undercurrent that they were not able to get equality within the sharing of those funds as a group. I believe at the end of the day, if you have a party like Wiper, if you have a party like now the way we have many parties and they have participated in the elections, there should be some rationale in ensuring that whatever kitty is there, it goes down to everybody. What requires to be there is a formula that will mean that the bigger gets the bigger and the least gets the least. It is also a way of democracy. So I believe that some of the issues being addressed by this law are useful, amendments that can address our process of democracy. The misgiving, and that would be my last point, is that because the election is so near, if some of these amendments had been brought earlier and they are good, there would have been no suspicion. But because the elections are so near, and what people are now looking at is how can I win the election? So everything that happens has got to be suspicious in most cases. Some of those things, and I want to say this to Kenyans, because that bill does not take away the right of a person to go to the ballot box and determine who he's going to vote for. And let politicians not cheat themselves, because no matter which laws you made, even if you made 1 million, and you have convinced people that you have what it takes and you have what they want in an election, and you are the best candidate, even if you made 1 million laws and passed them the last day of the election, people determined will still go and make you their leader. You remember, there are times when we have had members of parliament. There was a member of parliament in Nakuru who was elected when he was in jail. And people knew he was in jail, but they went ahead and voted for him. You got what I mean? And like Mheshimiwa says, there are even some who have been voted when they are dead. I mean, so what I'm saying is, let's not lend so much weight to this thing as though it is going to create such a diversion from what we would want as an outcome of the election.
All right, Susian, then I'll take your closing remarks.
Thank you. The spirit of the law is very important. What is the intention of this law? Why is it being brought too late in the day and even closer to elections? Because political parties are not beginning to exist today. Why is it being brought too late in the day? What are the intentions? Those are the questions.
Okay.
When we promulgated our constitution in 2010, this law actually should have been processed at that time. And there are sticky issues that have been raised about this law. The quality and level of public participation. Did the political parties even make their submissions? Was there efficient quality public participation on this? And this brings me to the hallmark of the agenda of Jubilee in terms of institutions. Because I think Jubilee as a government for the last 9 years has been anti-institutions. Where are the vibrant civil societies that existed during the Kibaki era? They were decimated by Jubilee government. Where are the trade unions that would speak freely on behalf of workers? They have been crippled by the executive. And therefore, this political parties act is sugar-coated. Sugar-coated with how to share funds, how to make things work, and how to make it look very revolutionary, like what Professor is doing. But what is the content inside? What is the poison?
What do you think is the real intention?
Going to cripple. What is the real intention? Look at it. Definition of a political party. In fact, definition of a political party, it's bringing in a new definition that is way out of this world. That a definition of a political party is also a coalition. And this is meant to legitimize the ever emerging coalitions in every election. We lost KANU in 2002. And you know, to lose an institution is not something good for the country. We formed NAC. NAC did not survive to see 2007. So in 2007, there were other formations, the PNU and ODM. In 2013, PNU was dead and gone. And there was TNA and URP coming together, and the other group, CORD, coming together. By 2017, there was no CORD, so there was NASA. And then now, Jubilee. Now we are moving to, we are being unfair to Kenyans. This is the truth. If there is a political party that exists as an institution, and I want to transfer it to link it with other jurisdictions. If you look at America, for example, there is what we call Democratic Party. It's not a coalition. It is an independent party that exists for years. And we know Democratic Party even now is preparing for the next convention, for the next elections. And those who believe in ideals of Democratic Party, particularly those at the bottom, are in the Democratic Party and are preparing their agenda. And that is how to promote governance. There is the Republican Party, which is the home of the Conservatives. And the Conservatives prepare their agenda. And that is how to stabilize politics in a country. Trevor, I disagree with definition of coalitions as a political party. Because we want to set an agenda that no country has ever set. That you define. In fact, the manner in which this bill was originated was very suspicious. When you see parliamentarians disagreeing and almost fighting, is an indicator. Where there is smoke, there is fire. What is this fire? And now you look at the powers being given to the registrar of political parties, even to control nominations and to train political parties on how to conduct nominations. That is creating an imperial registrar, and it is taking away the independence and freedom of political parties to organize themselves. I think there are many things very wrong in this Political Parties Act. If we speak the truth, and if lawyers were really to tell us some of these issues, and I think it was brought to deflate UDA. There are other details within the same. And it was brought to legitimize certain other... You can still have a coalition without necessarily changing the definition of a political party. Now, and this one was brought in to replace issues that were missed in the BBI. Because BBI was messed up. Had it been consulted properly, it would have worked. And I can see, Trevor, and I can tell you, if somebody can litigate, because in our constitution, anybody can litigate. If somebody can litigate and move to court upon ascension of this bill, it will be thrown out by the court.
Okay.
It will go to the dustbin, just like the BBI.
All right.
We can regulate political parties, but we need to make a bill in advance, maybe 5 years before a general election, with full, proper public participation, so that then parties can prepare. I don't think this is the right bill coming at the wrong time before party nominations and the general election. It is sugar-coated to contain a lot of mischief that is not good for the general election.
We have to leave it there, gentlemen. We ran out of time. Let me bring up some of your feedback real quick before we close this conversation. Kiswi Philip says, I want to congratulate Senator Kimani Wamatangi for understanding why hate speech by politicians must be tamed at whatever cost, because ultimately it hurts many innocents. We must look beyond politicians if we have to tame hate speech in Kenya, all right? Ngala says, the problem in our country is not the law, but people enforcing it. We run political parties like personal property disregarding the law. The same law will be amended in 2027 to fit that time again. Nothing new, okay? Dinangoli Rajoli says, politics of tokenism has made it so evident that the politicians feel like they buy votes to get into power. Hence, when elected, will never be seen by the voters or will never bring what was promised during campaigns. The mentality should change fast from the voters. Okay. Tubei George says, President Uhuru's opinion should be taken for granted and disbanded after all his term is coming to an end, and so should his political activities. Kenyan alone should decide what they want, period. Okay. Edgar says people shouldn't be overly concerned with whoever the president points as his successor. Remember, it's a secret ballot and your choice is influenced by your mind. Plus, this is democracy and not monarch society. Simply listen, think, and choose. Okay. Okelo Mwalimu says, as we approach August 9th elections, very many things are bound to change. For instance, people like Boni Mtetezi are likely to shift political camps, political stance will change, mode of dressing of politicians will change. Just record their statements. Okay. All right. That's where we leave it for now, gentlemen. We ran out of time here. Professor Tom Ojienda, Senior Counsel, thank you so much for making time. Dr. Kimani Wamatangi, Senator Kiambu, Dr. Boni Alwale, former Senator Kakamega, and Honorable Wilson Sossion, nominated Member of Parliament. And thank you all for all the feedback that you've sent through. We'll do this again next week on the State of the Nation. Right now, it's What's Cooking with Willis Bazu Raburu. Bye for now.